Hi, welcome to week 4 of the Art Journal Adventure. I am super excited for this week. This week we are going to look at the technique card, and really it's just going to help you break the blank page and get yourself moving and maybe find some inspiration. So we're just going to get right to it. The technique card is called Positive and Negative. It says, please use the stencil on the right page of a 2-page journal spread. Okay, so I'm going to read these directions as we go instead of just reading it all and backtracking. So I've got all my supplies here. I'm going to kind of move them out of the way. We're going to open our journal to a 2-page spread. Now remember, in the past I've said you can do one single page, you can do a double page, it's up to you. But for this particular technique, I would like you to have 2 separate blank pages. Okay, so you want to double spread both blank to start with. Okay, so then the first thing says, place the stencil on the right page of a 2-page journal spread. Okay, so I've got my right page, I've got my stencil. You can use whatever stencil you want. I'm of course using the stencil that's included in your starter kit, but again, use whatever works for you. Okay, you can put it on the top, bottom, right in the middle. You can do diagonal, upside down, it doesn't matter. This is totally you and your preference. Okay, so I'm going to use my shimmer spray that I have. I'm going to give it a good shake, make sure all of this mica that's settled on the bottom is mixed up. Okay, number one, you want to mix it up because it's gonna help disperse it through your project, and it's going to be beautiful and shimmery. But also, if you leave that mica on the bottom and you try to spray through the nozzle, it can clog it up. Okay, and then it can make your nozzle not work very well or at all. So those are the reasons why we want to make sure it's really well shaken and ready to go. Okay, so then number 2 says, use the art spray in a sweeping motion over the stencil. Okay, so you can do as much or as little as you like. Okay, I just did a sweeping motion a few times. Okay, not going to touch it. Leave the stencil in place and carefully close the journal. Okay, so now we're going to close the whole journal. Okay, and then press the cover of the journal gently to get a good impression. Okay, here we go. So we're pressing the journal to get a good impression, and now we're going to reopen. Okay, so you can see we didn't get a lot of movement over here. Okay, if you like it the way it is, I'm going to bring this closer so you can see, then you're good to leave it. I feel like I kind of want a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is take a water bottle and spritz a little bit of water on here, and then I'm going to close the journal and close the journal one more time, see what we get. Okay, and now we're going to open it. Ooh, I got some more. I think I want to try and get even a little bit more. Why not? So you can do this as much as you want until it looks the way you want. Okay. Ooh, I like that. I like that it has like a double take too. It's not perfectly lined up. So now I'm pretty satisfied with the way this is. I'm going to lift that. Look at how cool that is. That's a really strong pattern. This is the opposite sort of outline of the pattern, slightly more muted, but also very, very cool. This has a lot of goodness left over. So I'm going to flip it here, and I'm just going to rub it here and there. Okay, so let me get a towel. I've got my art towel here, and I'm just going to kind of dab it. I'm not going to rub and wipe, right? Just going to dab it, and see, that's filling in the blanks there a little bit. You don't have to do this part. This is just kind of going beyond that step. Okay, now there is some left on here. You could go to another page and use it all up, but I think for today I'm just going to clean up my stencil so we can move on. Okay, so now we're good. Nice and clean. Okay, so now really that is the technique, and the goal here is just to get you give you a starting point. Okay, sometimes if we open our journals to this, that can be a little intimidating, and it can be like, oh man, I don't know where to start or what to do. What kind of pattern am I going to draw a picture? Like, you know, there's so many choices, right? That really you can do anything. So sometimes it's nice to just grab a pattern, a stencil of a pattern that you like, throw it on the page, put some color on there, you know, and now we've got a place to start. Now we can use this to build on and to have, you know, just have a jumping off point and give us more inspiration, more places to go. Okay, so we've got this really awesome color, and this color is called Calypso Teal, in case you want to know. All right, so I think I really want to add a little bit more color and contrasting. So you only got one spray in your kit, but if you have any other kind of art spray, or even any kind of color medium, you know, color burst, watercolors, you know, whatever it is, you can obviously add that to this and do your own thing. So I have a bunch of mica here in the bottom, so I'm just going to give this a good shake and get it ready to go. And I think I just really want to add some orange. So how am I going to do it? I could spray, it'll leave like a puddle kind of. I could do some splatter. I just really want a little bit of contrasting color on here just to make it a little bit more dynamic, okay? And then I'll show you the next step. All right, so I want to get this shaken up really well. Almost there. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, I love to splatter. If you know me, you know that. Man, this color is just so gorgeous. I love it so much. Okay, this orange is going to look really great with this teal. So I'm actually going to open this up and just start putting splatter here and there, okay? And I want it to be kind of heavy, and I'm doing it only on one side of the page, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay? Oh man, that's pretty. Okay, so now I am going to do the same technique, but now with my splatter instead, and I'm going to go the other way, and I'm just going to do the one page. So they're going to be slightly bigger splatter marks now because I've kind of smushed them down probably. Yeah, look at that. But very cool. I love the way this looks, and I'm done. Okay, so we're going to dry this really quick, and then I'll show you the next, well, what I'm going to do. So from here, really, this is it. This is the technique. You can take this in whatever direction you want. You could stamp something over this. You could use another stencil that has like a bigger image, and you know, maybe use some black acrylic paint or some other paint and create your focal point. You could let it be abstract and just, you know, maybe put a quote or not. You could doodle over top of it. This is really just about helping you you know, break your page, break the blank page, and get yourself started, okay? So I'm just going to blot this to make sure we're pretty dry. My next step, I am actually going to finish my page with you and do what I would do. But again, from here, you can take it wherever you want. This is the technique on the card, and you know, that's all that's in there. So I just thought it would be fun to maybe show you one of the ways that I might finish this spread. Okay, so here's a close-up of that splatter. So cool. I love this distressy kind of look. Okay, I'm going to get these guys out of the way, and then next, I'm done with the spray also. Okay, so next I'm going to take my food ball pen that we got in our kit, and I'm just going to make some circles. Now I'm going to pick my favorite spots on this page, probably 3 of them, okay? One really big one, and then 2 maybe smaller-ish ones. Okay, so I think I really like this spot right here, so I'm going to make a circle. And then I kind of want my eye to go through here, right? So then I'm going to pick this spot also. It's still a pretty big circle, but not quite as big. And then I think I want one up here somewhere. So we're going to go like that. Okay, I just made 3 circles. Okay, now I'm going to get my gesso out. Okay, and a paintbrush, which I have right here. Okay, and now I am going to paint everywhere that isn't that circle. And I don't care if you can see through it, and I don't care if the colors are going to bleed and blend a little bit. I'm going to get a little brown in here because this orange and blue, you know, they're contrasting colors, right? So if you mix them, they make brown, right? So I'm gonna limit that as much as I can, but I don't mind the brown. It's a fun, you know, blue and brown is nice. I wouldn't mind some orange even with the brown. My gesso here is thicker than yours, and that's okay. And if you don't have the gesso that came in the kit anymore, you used it all up and you've got something else. If you don't have gesso anymore, let's say you used everything and you're like, oh, I don't have that, you could use white acrylic paint. Really, it doesn't matter, okay? Use whatever you have here. If you want to do this technique, you don't have to do this, of course. You can do whatever you want. So I'm leaving it kind of thick only because I'm trying to minimize the blending that was happening. I don't mind it, but I would like it to not be totally blended. And I do like seeing what's underneath. I just want it to be muted and sort of taken out of focus, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this side, and I'm only covering around the circles, okay? And you're like, oh man, you just did this cool background, why are you covering it up? Well, that's just part of this process in mixed media and journaling and all of that. I mean, really, like I've said before, the goal is the process and not necessarily what you end up with, right? And you don't know where you're going to go when you start always. Sometimes you can have an idea. Sometimes I have an idea. Sometimes that idea goes all the way through. And other times I start with an idea and it totally goes off the rails. And all of that is okay, right? The point is just to play, And if we didn't have this background, look, you can still see the background through it. And if we didn't have that background in those colors, this thing that I'm painting now wouldn't have this life to it, right? So you really, even if you covered it all up and you didn't see it at all, it was about the process and what got you to this point, okay? I hope that helps you. If you have more questions about that or you want to have more conversation about it, please tell me. I would love to talk about it more with you. But that is just the reason that I do it, okay? Because it's about the process and sort of figuring out, where you're going to go on your journey while you're creating. Okay, so this side is more covered up than that side, and I'm okay with that. I think I do want it a tiny bit more covered up on this side, but not a lot. We'll see what happens here. I am going to give it one more go. Okay, you can kind of see some of the words, but now they're really starting to go in the background and be unavailable. Okay, I'm loving this. I love this. I love the colors. I love that we got a little bit of a coffee brown in there because of the way the orange and the teal mix together. Totally fine with me. Sometimes mud and brown is not what you want, but I'm completely fine with it. It looks a little rusty, doesn't it? Really cool. Okay, so I'm going to dry this again, and then we will do the last step. Okay, so now my pages are dry. It's important that they're dry for the next step because I'm going to do some doodling on top of here, and you really don't want the paint to be wet for that part. Okay, so now that it's dry, I'm going to come in with some paint pens, okay? So you have a white one in your set, a white Posca. I've got this blue one. They come in all different colors, so you can use whatever colors you have, or if you have the white one would be great on here. Okay, and I'm just going to circle those, and then I'm going to dry between each layer, and I'm going to go over this with black, and this is just to help define these circles again because they had really fuzzy edges from the from where we went around with the gesso, right? So then I'm going to come in with my football pen. This pen is great as long as that paint is dry. If you're having a hard time using the football on your surface, it's probably because your surface is not totally dry. So you see how these now have more definition. They've got some layers of color, just a little bit. Okay, so then I think really all I want to do now is add a sentiment in here, maybe. And let's see. I've got these fun sticker sentiments ready to go. I mean, they sell these, they're books of them. And they're really fun to have just at the ready so you can add them to whatever project you're doing. So I really like this one. It says The Artist's Life. Usually I cut them up too and make them go different ways down the page, but I really kind of like the way this one is already. So it says the art, this one I will cut down a little bit. Oh man, these scissors. Okay, here we go. Because it's got a big lead there and I don't like that as much. So the artist's life is never dull. I really like that. And that's it. I could put, I could draw little flowers or put little, you know, other little embellishments in here, but I kind of like just it, I just kind of like it simple. And when, yeah, this is dry. And then I also probably would go over this. So I'm going to do black around here to accentuate this phrase, but also I probably will go, you know, my doodling, I like to wait until it's totally dry and had like a day to really dry. So I've got that, and then I probably would, you know, just do some dots around the sides. And I try to repeat the patterns here and there, so you have some continuity throughout. Okay, and then maybe I'm gonna do like arrows, right? Almost like a chevron type thing. Maybe I want the arrows to go this way. And this way. This just helps, you know, it's just a nice fun doodle, helps draw your eye around the page. I really have been kind of into doing that DNA sort of strand through here. So what if I did like this? This might be fun. I haven't done it like this before. Let's see. Not all the way. And kind of go behind the circle, right? And then I do sometimes lines through it, sometimes I'll color it in. And not even perfect, just, you know, this is just a fun whimsy doodle type thing, okay? So it definitely doesn't need to be perfect or very particular even. This is just a fun way to embellish your journal page a little bit. Maybe this one I'll go all the way up. Okay, that's fun. That helps draw your eye around. Let's see what else. I don't know. I kind of like it how it is. Maybe I'm going to do like a... I haven't done this before either, so let's see how this goes. Okay. And then like around, like just a corner version. What do you think? And this is really how it goes for me when I'm in my journal here and I'm looking at it and I'm like, where do I feel like I need something? And then maybe I'll just go and doodle there, you know, or stamp an image, or put some more splatter, or, you know, any number of things, whatever strikes you. See, you got a fun corner there. I could even do one down here. This is just a really fun way. I mean, you could even just do a swirly line like that, and it doesn't even have to be in black. You could use your Posca if you have white or even a different color like I've done here. There's no rules, right? And whatever makes you feel good. So these little strings or DNA strands, whatever they're called, I don't know. They're just fun to play with. I'm having a good time with them, so I'm going to keep doing it until I get sick of it, and then I'll pick something different, right? Okay, so I hope this helped you get some ideas and maybe get a little bit of inspiration. There's definitely more I could do to this, but I just kind of wanted to help you get started. So just to recap really quick, for the technique positive and negative card, okay, we put the stencil down on the right side, and then we sprayed it with spray. We closed the book and opened it. I found that I wanted more on this side, so remember I spritzed it with a little bit of water and closed it again. You could do that as many times as you want. You could even just spray your spray directly and put a little water and close it and get that mashy look, kind of like we did with the splatter, right? And then from there, you just build it however you want. You know, this was just one option, but I can't wait to see what you come up with and how you interpret this technique. So I look forward to seeing you in the group. Have a great day.